A listener warning. Please be advised that this episode contains content that may be disturbing to some listeners, including descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Life upon the wicked stage ain't ever what a girl supposes.
I'm Jen.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are, in fact, three different people.
This podcast focuses on true crime under the spotlight of arts and entertainment. So grab your beverage of choice and settle in.
Places, ladies.
Here's our episode.
I am hanging on literally by the seat of my pants to this podcast, okay?
I thought you were going to say by a thread, but
Me
I
too.
mean,
It's more exciting to say, it's more floozy-like to talk about my butt.
Now, that's true. That's
Oh my
something
God.
true if I've ever heard it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, the real technical, the operations behind this whole thing is you two. I just show up. I do my makeup 10 minutes before. I finally got a fucking microphone. Like, I just show up. I'm like, what's happening today, guys?
our podcast where it's like at any given time, as long as at least two of us are functional.
That's true.
That is true.
The third who's in the struggle bus that week can just be kind of like,
It's-
okay,
Just
I'm
hang
here.
on.
It's
Just
as
like
long as I-
tie on the rope, like grab on for dear
That's
life.
it.
And
I
here
feel
we
like
go.
this spring, just with my schedule, that's me. I'm just hanging on and I'm like waving from the corner. Hey guys, you're doing great.
You know, you're hiring people now, and this is your
I am.
first like alumni season. So next year, it's
Yep.
not going to be a problem because
Nope.
you're going to be a pro at it.
That's right. And I'll finally be a pro at this microphone.
All of us will be.
I mean, listeners, I think our last episode of Olive Thomas, according to Jen, I haven't listened to the raw
Yeah.
yet, but apparently we all sound very sexy because Olivia
very
has
good.
a new mic and is connected, and it's
You know,
amazing.
sometimes you do get what you pay for. And my previous mic was like $24.99, and I was like, yeah, and it was
Fisher-Price.
pink, and I was like, it's so cute. My Fisher Price Lego microphone, I built it myself. Yeah, so if you are just now realizing what I actually sound like,
Here it
this
is.
is me.
Yeah,
No
we
studio
don't have a,
sound, no AI helping her out.
we don't have a new host. It is in fact Olivia
is
this whole time.
Olivia.
This is-
Did you have to use AI to fill in my voice?
A little bit.
oh my
Studio sound, like it's like a thing on Descript.
who has ever started a podcast, if you listen to the first, however many
Yeah.
episodes, everyone sounds like trash, like without exception, because they're doing what we did, where it's like
That's
you're
right.
figuring it out. You figure
Figuring
out
it
how
out.
to edit, you figure out your microphone. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole dealio. So yeah.
Yeah.
In our
normal.
case, it was 16 episodes because we had 2 specials. So
Because we're busy.
we're very busy and important, all of us.
It's a lot. Well, shout out to the Fish and Brits podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They were a startup, whatever. And I asked them early on. I was like, hey, like your stuff really sounds very like polished and put together. And I know you are also just starting, like, what's your secret kind of thing. And my friend Adam, who's one of the primary hosts, he said, oh, well, we just paid someone who was like a podcast like producer and already had the studio set up in his house, and we would just go there and like record in an existing like studio setup with someone who already knew how to like mix and do the things. All we had to do was show up. And I was like, I mean, it definitely like good for you, like advantages to doing
Wow.
that. But at the same time I was like, oh well, no wonder, like you engaged services of professionals, whereas like we're just like staggering around like, I don't know, what does this button do? Like
We're such theater people. We're like, we figure
are.
it
We
out.
can figure
We're
it
gonna
out.
figure it out. We're gonna
We're
figure
like,
it out.
we have a barn. Let's put on a show.
Yeah, let's put on a show. Yeah.
It's the reason that I own 2 sewing machines and have accidentally costumed 5 shows. Did I mean
Correct.
to? No.
No.
But like needs must. So
Yep.
oh my
Yep.
god.
Same Z's.
Well,
Yep.
speaking of murder, speaking of murder and musical theater,
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Let's get into our podcast.
okay. I'm lighting my Jensen Ackles candle.
Okay,
no.
Jen.
I was waiting.
I love
There you
it.
go.
Jen
Smells
Nichols.
like leather, and
There he is. Hey,
I was
Dean.
like, what does it smell like?
it smells like leather and the interior of a '67
Impala.
Chevy.
Incredible.
I mean, yeah, Impala, yeah, Chevy Impala.
Chevy. You're
Um,
right.
No, I was. Yes, we were both right.
We finished each other's sandwiches.
I'm thrilled to be presenting this wild and crazy story. This is today's story has been called, so we're not stealing the name from anywhere. This is what it's called everywhere.
Okay, excellent.
Murder at the Met.
Is this the Met as in which Met?
Met?
Oh, great question.
To quote Sharon Moonstruck, where's the Met? Like,
This is murder at the Metropolitan Opera House.
ooh, okay.
And when this
The
happened,
Met from Lend Me a Tenor. Got it.
that's yes. And when this happened, the New York Post ran the headline, "The Real Phantom of the Opera."
Ooh,
I'm in.
Yeah.
drama.
And that's stuck for a lot of references to this is because it was such a mystery.
I am so fresh on this, and
I know.
still I don't know how this I missed this, because listeners, as we talked about, I think in the teaser for this, is a more contemporary case. Like what year are we talking about, Olivia?
So this is 1980.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the murder is of a well-accomplished violinist.
Oh.
Her name was Helen Mintiks. And the murder happened during a performance
Oh.
at the Metropolitan Opera. So first, let me just set the scene. So it's 1980 in New York City.
Big hair everywhere.
Big hair everywhere.
Big shoulders.
You know what else was
business.
big? The porn industry.
Times Square had a different vibe.
It sure did. First time I went to New York, it still had that vibe. It was terrifying.
Yeah. Me
my
too,
little
actually.
girlfriend, Marilyn.
98 is when I went, and I remember
That's about when I went too, and I was like, what is all this?
a lot of peep shows. Yep.
What does XXX mean, Mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
My mom's like, don't make eye contact with anyone. Keep walking. So the 1980 New York scene was high crime. Times Square was dripping with adult-rated movie theaters. And there was a lot of crack.
Yep.
So, however, there were certain pockets and institutions that were seen as high society and safe. One of which being the Metropolitan Opera House.
Sure.
This violinist was originally from Canada. She was from British Columbia, a tiny town that had kind of like Jen, probably kind of like your hometown.
I just lit up when you said a tiny town. I was like me.
It just had a few hundred people.
Yep. Sounds about right.
It was called Aldergrove.
Aldergrove.
That tracks.
Yeah. So she
Like Grover's
grew up on
Corners.
like Grover's Corners, like Stars Hollow. She grew up on a farm, and it was a poultry farm.
Oh.
She loved music, and her father would drive in his pickup truck 40 minutes to Vancouver to take her to violin lessons.
Wow.
She ended up getting into Juilliard.
Oh, wow.
Yes, where she met one of her best friends, Judith, who we will hear from Judith a little bit. And she studied in London. She got her undergrad and master's degree from Juilliard, and she traveled all over the world as a violinist. Mm-hmm. So she was part of the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra.
Okay.
She wasn't first chair,
That's okay.
which that will kind of play into some of this. She was not first chair, but she was an excellent violinist by all accounts.
You have to be to be part of the Metropolitan.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to say, like, it's
Orchestra.
still, I mean, to be first chair in any orchestra, but certainly at that level, I mean, that implies like you are like the best person we have. And it's like, and usually there's an element of like, you're not joining as first chair.
Right,
Like,
I was going to
it's
say
like
there's a little seniority involved.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Right.
it's like you got to pay your dues. And be
And
part
she
of
was
it.
only 30.
Oh, wow. There you
So she was 30 when this happened. So she was still young. Absolutely. Like she would have probably had an incredible career.
go. Wow.
Her friend Judith Olson met her at Juilliard. And something that I thought was really cute that Judith said in the documentary on this is she said that Helen loved to make everyone cheesecakes. She loved to bake, and she would bake her friend's cheesecake all the time.
That's so
I love
cute.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah. So they never said she lit up a room, which I appreciated. But
I think maybe she did.
She did make a heck of a good cheesecake.
Her cheesecake lit up a room.
They didn't know she was in danger.
They didn't know. Judith also said that Helen was the type who would come to your house for dinner and she would bring along the dinner.
Oh.
So I love the food. I think she must have been a foodie. Like she must have just really been into the warmth and the entertainment of sharing food and breaking bread together.
Taking care of people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Being from a small town and a farm too. I mean,
that's true.
That's when you get together is mealtime when you're working on the farm all day. You know.
Yeah. Judith from Juilliard paying
some respects. Yep. Helen's husband, Giannis.
Oh, she was married. Okay.
She was married. She'd been married for 4 years.
Oh.
He was a sculptor.
Oh.
And they met at an artist's retreat in Canada. And she was living in New York at the time. Like she'd gone up there for this retreat. They met. She came back to New York and she wanted him to come join her and spend Christmas with her in New York. And according to Judith, he was literally like a starving artist. He didn't have any money. And she was already playing with the orchestras. So she was able to pay for him to come down. And then that was basically it.
Aww.
So, and
though.
It is sweet. They were apparently very much in love, no children, but he would meet her at the stage door of the Met every night when she had a show to drive her back to their apartment on the Upper West Side.
Aww.
Because New York was full of crack.
Because it was
and
dangerous.
porn.
Right. I forgot.
That's right.
I was just thinking how sweet that was. Still sweet.
But also
Still sweet.
Logistics and safety.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also necessary. Yeah. Wow. Little did he know that when he was waiting for her at the stage door that night, she would never show up. So it is July 23rd, 1980. The Berlin Ballet had traveled to New York to perform at the Met, and the orchestra was playing for the performance. But what's interesting is that they did a four-parter. So they had 4 acts. In this, it wasn't like a traditional, the Berlin Ballet does Swan Lake. They were doing 4 pieces throughout the evening.
A mixed bill.
Yes, that's right. The first one was Stravinsky's The Firebird, who was danced by a very famous Russian ballet dancer. Hold on one second. His first name is Valerie, which threw me because at first I thought they were talking about a woman.
Sure. I was like, is it Nureyev? Like, who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right. Valery Panoff. But Valerie is a man's name in Russia. So, or it could be a man's name here. You know what?
Valery.
We don't know.
He's Valery. Yeah.
Valery Panoff. So he was dancing in the Firebird. That one was live orchestra. Then the second piece was Piazzolla's 5 Tangos. That was a recorded piece. As we call in the biz, it was canned music for that one. So the orchestra played for number 1, the Firebird. They took a 45-minute break for the 5 Tangos. They came back and played Don Quixote and then finished with a 4th piece called Miss Julie. So that's the order of the evening.
Okay.
Wonder if that's
So the timeline, 8 o'clock was curtain for this performance. They went on their first break at about 8:45. So that's when the Firebird ended. The musicians all got up. They went to the bathroom, went and had a snack, were hanging out. And they all came. What's that?
a little crack.
Went down to the street corner. Which street corner? It doesn't matter.
Listen,
any street corner. They all had
They
crack.
were making money. They had cocaine.
They were
They didn't need
highbrow.
crack.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
This is the Met. We do coke.
This is the 80s. This is the Met.
Yeah,
It's
cocaine.
It's weird if you don't, probably. Like,
That's right. That's right.
What do you mean?
So they all come back to their chairs at 9:30 to begin. So the canned music piece has played and it's over to begin Don Quixote. And they see that there is a violin and a bow sitting on a chair.
Oh.
and it's where Helen Minick should be sitting with her violin. So the show must go on. Don Quixote has to play. So the conductor just goes on and they do the next piece. Now, that's why I said she wasn't first chair in this, because if she'd been first chair, I don't know if they could have gone on, or there probably would have had to be some kind of
contingency.
Right. They were able to play
There were
without her.
other violins to be
Playing her
heard
part.
on the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And the orchestra members would later say, we thought perhaps she had gotten a phone call. Perhaps she got sick.
Right.
Maybe she got hurt. Like, they weren't really too worried about it. I mean, you're in the Met, for God's sakes.
Right.
So now it is 11:30 at night. The performance has ended, and the violin and the bow are still sitting untouched on her chair.
So creepy.
This is a $20,000 violin.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So they were like, she would not have walked off, and if there had been an emergency, she would have at least come back to get the violin.
Right.
She would never.
Or like
Told
called the
someone.
stage manager.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
company manager. Somebody say, hey, can you like put this away
Yeah.
for me? Because like it comes in a case.
Right.
Bare
Right.
minimum.
It comes in a case.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, you're
Please
not
put
gonna,
it in a
leave on
case
your
and put it in
chair.
the office or something.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, curtain call, no Helen. They all start wandering around, no Helen. So they all start frantically calling her apartment, thinking that maybe she went home if she got sick. Let's see if we can talk to Giannis, see if we can figure it out. Nothing. The phone is ringing off the hook at the apartment.
So no Giannis?
So no Giannis. So the assistant house manager, shout out to house managers, the assistant house manager calls the police
Yeah, good.
and says, listen, we have a missing person, and this is the Met we're talking
Good.
about. And so they had two detectives, Michael Struck and Jerry Giorgio, who, these guys are awesome.
Yeah?
Like sometimes some stories, you've got some cops that are like messing around, not really. Maybe they were in on the take of the crack scene. No, not these guys. These guys.
Maybe it's the Jean-Benet Ramsey case, and they're like, let's clean up this evidence. Like, it made a mess.
Give
Like,
me a rag. Got some bleach?
What's all this black dust on the doorknob? Let's get that off of there.
throwing blankets over bodies. Oh, you want to move that? Oh, whatever.
That's
yeah,
fine.
You do you, y'all. Not-
Mike and Jerry are on top of it. So they were like, oh,
Good.
damn, this is the Met. We need to get right over there. So they arrive at the Met. They are taken backstage and are taken to the dressing room area where it's not really it's a dressing room for the orchestra, but it's not like a traditional dressing room. They all have lockers that they put their street clothes in.
Sure.
So they open Helen's locker to find all her street clothes.
Oh, no.
So they're like, okay, her $20,000 violin was left on the chair. Her street clothes are here, so she's still in her orchestra attire. She could not have left.
Well, or if she did,
building.
it was in
Or-
a hurry against her will,
emergency,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah.
Like clothes on your back. Yeah.
Yeah. So the cops head to her apartment where they find Giannis, very frantic, because he had waited for her at the stage door at 11:30.
Which is why he wasn't home when they called.
Right.
Okay.
She never showed up. He waited and waited, and he thought, well, maybe she took a taxi home. Maybe she wasn't feeling good and left early. Mm-hmm. He calls the apartment. He starts getting nervous. He calls the apartment, and it's busy. It's a busy signal. So he's like, oh, thank God she's home.
Giannis calls the apartment like when he's waiting for her.
Yes.
Okay.
This is like using a payphone. This
I
is
was just
before
gonna say,
cell
because
phones.
remember, ladies and gentlemen,
Vintage.
kids gather round. You had to have a quarter on you at all times.
That's right. That's
because you
right. So
needed
I
to
don't know
use a
where he
payphone.
called from. I'm assuming it was a payphone.
Yeah.
There used to be payphones everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like in New York City, there's like a Starbucks on every corner. There used
Right.
to be payphones.
On every corner.
And you had to memorize phone numbers.
Oh my God. Or there was
That's right.
a big book like
that's it,
chained
but-
to the thing. Like
And it had your name and address in it.
it wasn't creepy at all.
So he gets a busy signal and is like, oh, thank God she must be home. She's on the phone. He rushes home. She's not there. He got a busy signal because everybody from the company was calling.
Calling.
So they were blocking each other's calls. So that when the cops showed up, to say, have you seen your wife? He became absolutely inconsolable.
Yeah.
So back to the Met. The police and the detectives are there. They start interviewing all the musicians. And they've talked to the dancers that are still in the building. The ushers. No one saw her after that first piece. So she did stand up and walk away from the chair and seems to have vanished. So they start searching all over the building. The Met is apparently like a city behind the scenes.
Really? I know it's a complex, like it's huge.
Yes.
Because if you just say at the Met, then it's also like, well, which venue within
Right.
the Met?
Oh, I
because
didn't even
it's
know
like a
that.
little. It's like a little campus almost. Like there's the main, like
Right.
what you're thinking of, like the Opera House specifically,
Yeah.
which is where Moonstruck is, and they go and see La Boheme, and it's like the famous like chandeliers and the Met. But there's other venues and there's other spaces, and it's
Spaces,
massive.
right.
Yeah.
But even within the opera complex, it is huge. So I found a pretty cool rendering of a performance. It kind of looks like Pirates of Penzance because it's a pirate ship, but you can see there is this
damn.
rendering. And you can see there's the stage. The rendering is done as if you are like up in the very back of the stage looking towards the audience. So you can see the audience. You see this huge proscenium arch. You see this wild, intricate fly system. And then behind the stage, you see a whole other set.
Yeah.
So the stage itself goes way back. But then if you look at the next picture, I found a schematic just to show the complication of this building. It's a labyrinth. There is a scene shops, costume shops, dressing rooms, basements.
Wow.
It's rehearsal halls. Like it's crazy in this building.
Massive complex.
So the detectives were told, all the police, there was, I think about 80 police swarming the building at this point. They were told, don't go anywhere by yourselves.
You'll never find your way out.
You will get lost. And what's terrifying is you could go into a room, realize you've taken a wrong turn, and the door locks behind you and you're trapped.
No.
So that's the other thing is Helen trapped somewhere? Did she
Right.
get turned around and she's lost in a
She's in a broom
storage
closet.
closet?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like unlikely, but
Right.
weirder stuff has happened in
Weirder
the
stuff.
theater.
Yeah. And no
Absolutely.
cell phones to call someone to be like, hey, I'm
That's
stuck
right.
in this broom closet.
That's
Yeah.
right. So they're searching all night long.
Wow.
Now we're at the next morning. Yep. 8:30 in the morning. A Met, and I believe it was an electrician. They started also searching like the roof. Like, did she get locked out on the roof?
Sure.
They find a pair of women's heels on the roof.
Oh, no.
And they're like, okay, they must be her shoes. I mean, why else would there be female, like a pair of heels up here?
And as we've seen, based on that schematic you just showed us, Olivia, probably not super easy to get to the roof. Like people
Not at
all.
wandering up there casually. Like,
Right. So they start looking around, and that electrician who was a Metropolitan Opera House employee calls down, and the police come up. They start searching the roof, and they look down into an air shaft opening, and they find on a crossbeam a naked, bound, gagged, blindfolded Helen.
oh my gosh, so much.
She had fallen about 30 to 45 feet
Well, yeah. In quotes.
down an air shaft, landed on this crossbeam.
Oh my god.
Next to her on the crossbeam was her purse and her clothes, which appeared to have been ripped off.
Oh, my God.
And one detective said he believed they looked to be cut off.
Oh, shit.
So they all rush down there. They call in the medical examiner, and she is, of course, dead on the scene. They immediately start scouring the rooftop. They find on a big, it's huge, this iron, like an elbow pipe. Like it looks like
like part of an air duct or something.
Yeah, huge. They find a palm print, and it's right near where, if she had been thrown, like where the shoes were found.
Yeah.
They find a really clear palm print on this iron pipe. Now that may or may not have anything to do with anything, because there's people crawling all over this building all the time. Hundreds of people work in this building, but they do have this palm print. The medical examiner, they, take her back to the morgue, city morgue, and he works quickly on this case because it already is hitting the news.
I bet.
That very next day, Phantom of the Opera, murder. This is
an attractive young victim,
blonde, white violinist killed in the middle of a performance, or went missing in the middle of a performance and then turned up dead the next morning.
Still, yeah.
Ugh. So, the medical examiner quickly did the autopsy and determined there was no sexual assault, which had been an initial assumption.
Yeah.
There was no sexual assault. However, her cause of death was the fall.
Oh, no.
So she was alive when she was thrown down this air shaft, and it was
horrible.
Head injury and injury from the fall that actually killed her.
Ugh.
So the way he said it, she was breathing when she hit the crossbeam.
That's awful.
And she was gagged, like she had a gag around her mouth. She was blindfolded, and her hands were tied behind her back. When they have to tell her husband this, they immediately, first suspicion is always the husband or the partner. And so they immediately begin questioning him. His reaction, his state of mind, they felt was very believable. Like he was clearly horrified, shocked. And if they were, one of the detectives was like, if you wanted to murder your wife, why would you go into her place of work?
Right.
And like, this was such a bizarre,
risky and elaborate. Like, do it in the privacy of your own apartment. Like,
right.
you know,
right.
but,
why would you do that there and then rush home? And then, so.
Well, also, like, if there's, I don't know, I think we see this and hear about this all the time of like people who it's like, oh, you're not acting right when we've come to question you about the death of your spouse or whatever. It's like, if anyone acted right, it sounds like it was him, because he was a very I'm extrapolating, but like maybe like sensitive and emotional guy, and like I'm like clearly already upset because it wasn't like, oh, she went to work and nothing seemed wrong and then she turned up dead. Like he knew she was at least missing and was like freaked out about that, for like what
from the moment
about? At least like 10-12 hours now. So
like when they showed up at the apartment at midnight, he was already really upset because he couldn't find his wife. Okay, so now we are the next day, so it's July 24th. The next night, there's another show with the Berlin Ballet.
I was gonna say, the same one.
The same show. The show must go on. So the detectives decide to set up a command station at the Opera House. So somewhere backstage, somewhere in that labyrinth, they give them a spot. So they are conducting a massive investigation, because when they are interviewing the stage managers and the house managers, they realize there were 200 stagehands alone working that show that night. Then you've got like an 80-piece orchestra. Then you've got a 60 ballet members. There were hundreds of people. So they basically set up camp. And as people were arriving, getting ready for the show, the cops are going around interviewing everyone, showing them Helen's picture. By this point, they'd all heard because it was breaking in the newspaper. And so they're asking them did you see this woman last night? Anything you can tell us would be really helpful. This is also how her friend Judith finds out about the murder in the paper. She sees the paper the next day, the New York Times, and she's absolutely devastated.
Yeah, I was going to ask if she was also playing in the show, but she wasn't.
She was not. But she was horrified, and she was scared, she said, because they didn't know, is this someone targeting musicians? Was this a stalker? Was this just there's one point they were like, did someone just wander in off the street through the stage door and, some random act of violence? Okay, so they're asking everyone if they've seen her, and one of the dancers, her name's Lauren Cutler, she briefly looks at the photo while she's getting ready for the show, and she's like, no, I didn't see her. Then the performance begins, and to hear her tell it, she was partnering in one of the ballet pieces, and she's dancing with her partner, who she said was very tall and strong, and they're doing a move where he's lifting her, and she's bending backwards, almost upside down, and she has a flash of, oh my God, I did see her in the middle of her, like pas de deux.
I love that at that point, the performance is so much just muscle memory. Her mind is able to wander, to be like, oh yeah, I did see her. It's like without missing, like, like missing a beat.
Because I thought, did the performance stop? Did she fall? No. She continued, but it came to her while she was doing this incredible pas de deux with her partner.
I
saw her.
I've not remembering murders, but I've done stuff like that. It's like you're on stage.
To be clear,
it's muscle memory, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Where am I?" Like, yeah.
It is so scary when that happens on stage. So as this back to the center stage, Lauren Cutler doing her dance has a flash.
Dancing. She remembers suddenly. She has evidence.
She was like, brain. "Oh my God!" So. When she comes off stage, of course, after the show, we don't interrupt a show for this.
She didn't go, stop.
No, stop. I saw Helen Minick. No.
She leaps off the stage.
Grand jeté.
Grand jeté.
In the tours jetés into the wings.
Tours jetés into the wings. Yeah.
And her partner's just like, what?
He's like, guess it's time for my 64 fouettes.
Fouettes.
Stall for time.
I was literally going to say that. He's like, well, I guess I'll do some fouettes. What else do you do in your center stage?
Surprise, coda. Yeah. It's Don Quixote. I'm sorry. I'm just, all my useless ballet knowledge. It's
there you go.
Okay, it's good.
Okay, so here's what she remembers.
Okay.
She was also not dancing during the part of the canned music. So that was not her performance. So she was also backstage walking around while the orchestra was on break. She was standing at the stage elevator, one of those big industrial elevators, because her dressing room was down, or at least the dancers' lounge. I'm not sure if it was the dressing room or the lounge, but the break area for the dancers was in the basement. So she is waiting at the elevator. Okay. There's a man at the elevator as well in a work outfit. And then up comes Helen Minick on the break. She walks up. She has her purse with her. And she says, I'm looking for Valery Panoff.
Helen
Where
says
can I?
This.
This is what Helen. Okay. Helen asks, where is his dressing room? Okay. The elevator doors open. All three of them get on the elevator together. Mm-hmm. And the man says, this workman that's with them says, 4th floor. So they all go down to the basement together. Laura Cutler gets off the elevator and the doors close and go back up to what she presumes is the 4th floor. That is the last and only time anyone sees Helen.
Ugh. Wow.
So immediately the police are like, we have to go talk to Valery Panoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, find out
Why
if she
was
ever got
she
there.
right? Why was she looking for him?
Well, was he a celebrity dancer?
He was.
So
He was a celebrity dancer
okay.
from Russia.
Okay.
He was a defector,
I was
I
gonna
believe. So it's kind of a similar to like a Baryshnikov.
yeah, he's dancing for the Berlin Ballet, not
Right. That's
Yeah.
right. Not the Russian. Exactly.
yeah.
So the police interview Valerie or Valerie. I don't know how to say it. I'll say Valerie.
My money's on Valerie.
I like that
too.
better. The New York cops are like Valerie, but you know, they're New York. Yeah. Hey, Val,
Hey, Val, come over here. I got to ask you some questions.
put your tutu down and come over here. And he's like, I do not wear tutu. You know,
I wear a cup and tight pants.
I do wear cup.
I wear dance belt.
That's it.
It is made from tears of pussy men like you. You never attempt courgette. You do not know the suffering.
Coda. And then he leaves.
Never know the suffering of the Grand Tourgette. Valerie says, I have no idea who Helen Mintiks is. I never saw her that night.
Okay.
I don't, she never made it to me. I don't know. So they start investigating because they are concerned if Valery had something to do with this. He's a defected Russian ballet dancer who's here internationally from Germany. Like this could become a mess.
Jurisdictional nightmare.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was the prime male dancer in Firebird. And then he danced other pieces throughout the performance. Valery's wife was in the audience. And so they talked to her. She also had no idea who Helen was. And Valery was on stage every time he was supposed to be. He never disappeared. There was no proof that Valery had anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Hey friends, Jen here, and we hope you're enjoying this episode of Life Upon the Wicked Stage. Just a few quick reminders. If you're looking for any of the visuals that we've mentioned in this or any episode of the podcast, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Wicked Stage Pod or Facebook at Life Upon the Wicked Stage. If you want more, please join our Patreon by searching the Wicked Stage Podcast. There you'll find ad-free episodes, videos of our recordings, mini-sodes, behind-the-scenes content, giveaways, and so much more. And the most important side note, if you like the show, please give us a nice rating wherever you listen. It sounds silly, but it's still the best way to get the word out and support us in this crazy podcast world. Well, lights are blinking, intermission's over, so grab those snacks and another drink and enjoy the rest of the show.
Also, just real quick, Olivia, I just pulled up Valery Panov. I just wanted to see what he looked like. He looks like there's a photo of him on Wikipedia from like dancing on stage from like 1977. So like 3 years before this. He is jacked. But
Yes.
I will say, as someone who has worked and spent time in the ballet world, even ballet dancers who register as tall, male dancers, are not that tall. Like they're just not big people.
Right.
Dancer, like I will say like a male ballet dancer, like to be taller than like 5'9" is unusual.
Right. I think it's because like your center of gravity is different, and it's also very hard to partner if you're that tall. You can't partner with
Right,
Ballet
because the women are like
girls
5
Right.
foot, like
Yeah.
5'2",
They're
maybe.
usually
like,
small.
Yeah, very small. Yeah, I don't know how tall Helen is or, you know, what her deal is. But just as far as like, you have time in the middle of like, you know, ballet to not only like leave the stage and take a break and not miss a beat, but also get your ass all the way up to the roof and go through this elaborate process to kill this woman who you otherwise is a stranger to you. Like,
Right.
This feels like a reach, and it feels like a lot of work, and also you're probably a short king, so like, what were you really gonna do? Like,
Right.
he's like you have to come with me, and she's like, make me, like, you know, I don't know. It just
Make
that feels
me
like a
Valerie.
reach.
Yeah. Valerie.
Feels like a reach.
She called him Valerie. That's what it was.
Yeah,
It just
that
set
was
him off.
Pissed him off.
The end. Yeah. So the detectives at this point, we're only about 24 hours in.
Okay.
And a couple new pieces of evidence have come to light. So they have a time of death window now, which is between 9:30 and 11 p.m. is when she was thrown, when she hit this slab and died. Okay. So it happened during the show. So that's important. It's not like she was missing. They were hiding in the building.
Yeah, we came back later.
They knew the cops were looking for her. They killed her. No.
That narrows the window considerably.
Narrows the window considerably. She was killed during the show.
Yeah, and again, Valeri, if he's on stage doing... Yeah,
right.
Like, he's like, well, when were you going to do this?
When were you...
Exactly. Then it takes away a lot of suspects, too.
It does. Anybody that was
playing
a dancer or musician... How could they have done it and gotten back in 45 minutes? There's no way.
Or even like of the crew, if you're backstage and like you're at your spotlight, point your spotlight. Well, it's not Dave because, he was on his follow spot. Like,
right.
Yeah, you'd miss somebody.
Well, Ashley, the other piece of evidence is the type of knot that her hands were tied behind her back.
Oh, shit.
Was called a clover knot, which is a traditional knot used by stagehands. So, damn it. They realize they need to start looking at the stagehands. The last man to be seen with her was wearing a work uniform, a work outfit. Not a workout outfit. He wasn't like a 1980s.
Jane Fonda.
Like a Michael Myers style coverall. Is that
right? Like coveralls. Yeah. He had a tool belt. That kind of work.
Okay. Not Lululemon. Michael Myers.
No.
Yeah.
Not like neon headband and wristbands, and he's like jogging in place.
Bodysuit that's also a thong.
Right?
Why? Like, why would you work out in that?
Richard Simmons, why are you backstage at the Met?
Because jazzercise, Jen. It was the 80s.
Richard Simmons is just back there getting them all revved up before they go, come on, Berlin Ballet, let's go.
So they've realized there's the time of death, there's the knot. There's one other thing that in talking to Valeri and some of the other dancers, what they realized was his dressing room was not on the 4th floor.
Where was it?
So the man that got on the elevator with Laura and Helen said he's on the 4th floor. He gave her the wrong information. Was that an accident? Or did he purposely tell her the wrong floor? All of these things are adding up to stagehand.
It sounds more and more nefarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. So now, Jen, to your point, I'm going to let you guys finish this sentence because I said it out loud with the documentary. What they discovered was the stagehands are super tight, right? They're union. These boys are union.
IATSE.
They are exactly. They didn't mention IATSE, but we all knew what they were talking about. They're IATSE. They're not gonna throw one another under the bus.
No.
But they have one cardinal rule: you never
leave your post.
You never miss a cue.
Miss a cue.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
So they're
You have
we
literally
need
one job.
You have one job. So they're looking for somebody that missed a cue. They're also looking for somebody who maybe has some physical injuries. Because apparently with her body, it was obvious that she put up a hell of a fight.
Okay.
So the first night back, as the stagehands this is 3 days in. They've gotten all this piece of evidence. So all these things are adding up. They're 3 days in. So they start taking statements from the crew. There are 200 stage crew members that they have to interview. They want to interview them. They want to kind of give them a look over and see if anybody looks injured. And they also are asking them all for palm prints. Because now it's like, okay, we've got a palm print. We know, it sure seems like it's a stagehand. Let's see if we can match these things up. So the first person, there's a stagehand. The other thing I forgot, my goodness, is that Laura, the ballet dancer, when she had her flash of memory, was able to give them a description. So in addition to the work uniform, he was young. He had flyaway hair.
80s.
So he had like kind of, 80s, like kind of flyaway hair, young and tall. So they have a description. They start looking at the stagehands, and they have a composite sketch. Nobody's looking like anyone, but one of the stagehands shows up with a shaved head. And another stagehand mentions he didn't have a shaved head yesterday.
There it is.
And he had scratches on his face.
Oh,
so they're thinking, this might be our guy. So they start talking to him, and he says, I got the scratches on my face because this is where, like, you get yourself out of a murder because you're actually an asshole. He says, the scratches on my face are from my wife. We got in a physical fight last night.
Oh.
She scratched me. And in retribution, I shaved my head because she loves my hair.
What?
Okay, dude.
Sure, Jan.
So, but it turns out that's all true. They interview the wife. Can you imagine? Because this is like, she's probably sitting out. They probably live in Queens. Well, in the 80s, you could afford to live in Manhattan. So maybe they're like, I don't know. And she's sitting out with a cigarette, and she's like, yeah, that asshole came home and I scratched him in the face and he shaved his head. I don't know. I have no idea.
This sounds like a Law and Order. Like, this sounds made
Right?
up.
It does.
All
Absolutely.
That is the worst alibi / apparently real situation I've ever heard.
Right.
What?
So you and your wife were beating each other up. That's why you're not the murderer. And the answer is correct.
Good? Question mark?
Right. So back to the continuing to interview and take palm prints. There is a young stagehand. He's 21 years old. His name is Craig Crimmins. And he is suddenly incredibly nervous when they ask for the palm print.
Craig.
He starts sweating. He looks like he's going to pass out. But he still does the palm print.
Okay.
And the detective taking the palm print makes a note. Like, take a look at this guy. He seems really suspicious.
He's
and he
sweating a
kind of
lot.
matched the description.
Not a flyaway?
With the, not a, what?
Like not a flyaway?
Not a flyaway.
His little hairdo?
Like his little hairdo may actually have, maybe it was his demise. I don't know.
Listen,
So-
he tried to like pomade it down that day, but it just wasn't working. Those
Right.
flyaways get you every time.
So they analyze the palm print very quickly. I must say, those of us that are true crime buffs know that this stuff can take autopsies. Handprint analysis can take forever.
It clearly prioritized.
And it was
this
the
evidence.
80s too. So
It was the 80s. They prioritized this stuff. So within a few days, they get the palm print back, and it's a match
Yeah,
Craig?
it is.
for Craig Crimmins.
Fucking
Craig Crimmins.
So for
What a name
Craig,
too.
right? They start talking around to other stagehands, and what they discover is
Oh no.
Craig missed some cues.
Of course he did.
He
Smoking
missed
gun.
some cues later in the show.
Yeah, in theater, that's the smoking gun right there. I'm sorry, you missed your cue.
It is.
Murderer.
Right.
Well, it's like you get confronted by like the director, the stage manager. It's like, what were you doing? Where were you? You missed your entrance. Like, what was going on?
Yes,
You're
it's first of all, it's terrifying.
terrifying. Yeah, but then to have to admit to like, what were you doing? This better be good. Like,
Yeah.
As
I was
someone who
murdering
definitely
someone?
missed a cue and had to be rescued by David Lowe and Billy Elliot, I can attest it's terrifying to miss a cue.
Yeah.
So they start asking around, and they ask his like stage crew buddy, like whoever was supposed to be with him.
Yeah.
So he missed a cue. Where was he? This fellow IATSE guy says, he was in the stage crew lounge drunk. He'd gone down there. He was drinking.
Craig.
He'd fallen asleep. I found him there.
What?
And this is where Detective Mike and Detective Jerry are like, their bullshit detectors go off.
Uh-huh.
And
Ding, ding,
Detective
ding.
Mike says, oh, okay. Well, if you want to go down for being an accessory to murder, you just go ahead and keep on with that story.
Get him, Detective Mike.
To which the stagehand quickly turns on his union brother and says, no, I never saw him there. He missed his cues, and he told me if you asked to tell you that.
Oh,
so they're like,
And
got
trying
it.
to fabricate an alibi.
wow.
So now they're ready to go talk to Craig.
Craig. I hate
So
it
they bring
already.
Craig
Right,
in.
I hate him already. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That
They
just
bring
hates-
Craig in.
I'm projecting my money's on Thumb. I'm putting it out there now.
I actually, I
have a
do have some
picture?
photos.
Do
Yeah,
we-
in the
please tell me.
drive.
Yes. You know it's going to...
see.
Do we just need to draw...
Look at him.
right
It's
on
the
our-
black and white, the guy with the flyaway hair.
I was right. Yes.
Thumb.
Yes.
Yeah?
Thumb.
Wait.
Thumb, ladies and gentlemen. He's giving thumb.
Yeah.
The thumb,
Black and
thumb.
white photo. Yeah. Thumb, thumb. Okay, so they start talking to Craig. Now, they already know that he's asked someone to lie for him, but he doesn't know that they know that. So they're like, Craig, we hear you missed some cues a few nights ago, the night that Helen disappeared. Like, what happened? Oh, I went down. I have a drinking problem. Again, we're trying to make an alibi out of something that's maybe not quite worse, but not great.
Right.
I was
right.
Bad, but not illegal.
drinking on the job. Okay.
But it's,
And I fell
it's art, so it's fine.
right.
People were already doing
fine.
cocaine, as we've
Yeah.
discussed. So.
Yeah, we
sad.
already... It's like in the lounge, so...
That's right. That's right.
God.
I need to powder my nose. So he tells them the story, and they're like, Craig, we know that you lied about that because we talked to your buddy, and we know that you asked him to lie about it. And he's like, oh my God, you're right. I had
admitted it right
gone
away.
off. I'd gone off to drink, and I missed my cues because I was drinking, and then I came back to the lounge later and fell asleep. So he's sticking with this I'm an alcoholic story. But no, he didn't see me in the lounge. You're right. So they're like, okay. So they don't have enough evidence yet because they do have a palm print match, but that could be explained away. He does match the description. But they want to get the story a little bit more airtight because again, all the eyes are on this story.
Yeah. I am with Ashley, though. Can it really be explained away? I know he's a stagehand,
Well,
but why would he be on the roof as a
The
stagehand?
roof. Right. Thank
That's
you.
right. So they asked him. In this kind of interrogation, but without it being too much of an interrogation. They said, "Well, Craig, we got to tell you something. Your palm print matched the palm print. Like they just want to see how deep is this guy going to dig himself in?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, well, we sunbathe up there."
I'm sorry. He didn't just go to we smoke up there or we take a drink. No, we sunbathe on the roof.
Also,
Right.
who's we? Who are these other sunbathers?
I don't know.
And what? I'm sorry. What thumb of an IATSE crew guy's like, gotta get some sun under these coveralls?
I was gonna say, can you just see them up there getting zipping out of their overalls? I gotta get some sun.
This
They're
is
oiling
not-
each other up.
This is not a thing. This is not happening. I'm sorry. This is not a situation.
It was a workout outfit that he was wearing.
It was. Listen, I've never once sunbathed with a fellow actor in general, but not on a roof either. I've never done it.
It was New York in the 80s, Jen. Things were wild.
Everyone was on
okay?
cocaine. You're right.
Then they say, well, we have an eyewitness, Craig. We may not have an eyewitness to your oily sunbathing on the roof, but we have an eyewitness that puts you in the elevator.
Yeah.
And
Right.
he
Yeah.
says, yes, that was me. I did ride the elevator because I was going to drink. So I rode the elevator. I guess I must have told her the wrong floor. That's the last time I ever saw her. She was looking for Valeri.
Right. And I was drunk, so I said the
Right.
wrong floor. Oops.
Right. So we're a drunk
oiled up.
sunbather at this point.
This is so flimsy.
Isn't this?
Right.
You know what he was doing? This is how a porn starts. So he was moonlighting for the porn industry in New
How
York.
will I pay for this pizza?
It was
Come
shown
meet
in
me on the
Times Square.
rooftop.
God. You want to see the view of the park from here?
Wink, wink.
Terrible.
I mean, if you look at that hair, it does kind of look like wannabe porn star
It
hair.
really does, honestly.
Yeah.
The mustache. He's got a porn stash. Well, he's trying. It's not because he's a thumb.
It's
Right.
like a creeper stash.
It's
sorry.
a creeper stash. There's a porn stash and there's a creeper stash. And that is the latter.
That is a creeper stash.
Terrible.
So this is now August 17th is when they've had this bizarre
Oh,
conversation with Craig.
It's almost a month, right?
Right. But they're like, they release him at that moment. So August 17th, they release him so that they can put all their evidence together. They're really waiting for, they have no motive is the thing. There's no motive here that they can figure out. So they're not ready to arrest him yet because they want they wanted a one and done. They don't want to arrest the wrong guy. They want to make sure that they have enough evidence. So they're waiting. However, August 29th, the detectives get a call from the Daily News. Somebody from the police station has leaked to the Daily News that there's a suspect and his name is Craig Crimmins.
Oh my God.
Mike and Jerry, our detective pals, are like, oh no, if this goes out, he's going to run. We're going to lose him. You guys can't, you're going to blow the whole case. Like, yes, that's our guy and we're going to arrest him when we have enough. Like, don't do this.
But can you just like calm down? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Why?
Down
typical tabloid, oh, well, we would, but it's already gone to print.
Right. Oh,
This
yeah.
is such a Law and
Him
Order
and Bat Boy.
situation.
We can't pull it. So, and not only is it going to print in this, it's called the Bulldog edition, which is, I guess, a special evening edition when there's exciting news. This Bulldog edition is what's going out. It's going out at like 7:00, and simultaneously there is a radio broadcast that is going to announce it. So they're like, shit.
From the Daily
So-
News? Or they
I
leaked
guess
it
either
somewhere
the
else?
Daily News has their own broadcast. I think what it is you know how like it's like beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
This just in. They're
Breaking
going to
news,
announce
the
it.
latest. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to announce it on the radio.
Okay.
Go pick up the edition of Daily News to find out who the suspect is.
In murder.
So they're like, "Oh my God, this is our worst nightmare."
Who the Phantom
so they
is,
realize,
right?
yeah. So they realize, okay, we have to do something, and this is where Mike and Jerry, I think, are heroes. So they rush over to Craig Crimmins' apartment, knowing they have minutes at this point. Like it's like 7:00, everything's going live, and he's going to know they're on to him. So they rush over to his apartment. They're trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? He walks out of his apartment building. They have about 10 minutes. So they casually saunter up to him as if nothing major is happening. They're like, Craig, hey man, listen, you've been such a big help. We actually have a few more questions that we need to ask you. Would you come down to the station with us? And he says, yes. So they, while the news is breaking, they are taking him into the station, into an interrogation room, so that he has no idea now that he is the suspect.
I love it so much.
Man.
This idiot. I love it. He's like, sure, I'll help. I'll be helpful.
Yep.
Oh,
I got away
with
with
you. My mustache and I aren't doing anything. Like,
I just finished oiling my mustache.
God.
Like I'm going to oil my biceps to lay out on the roof later.
No, you're not.
No, never
No
do
one
that.
ever has done this in the history of the world.
Right. So they take him into the precinct and they start drilling down on all these inconsistencies. Because remember, they don't have any extra evidence at this point. They just know this is our one shot, because once he walks out of here,
He's gonna know.
he's going to know, because his family knows now, his stage crew IATSE buddies know, like he's going to know.
Yeah.
So they basically isolate him, and this is their one shot. So they start drilling down on, look, we've got your palm print. We've got you cited. We know that you were not drinking in the lounge, and
Yeah.
he says, I want to talk to Jerry by himself. So of the Mike and Jerry detective crew, he kind of like formed this bond with Jerry. And Jerry was the one that was like, hey, Craig, hey, why don't you come down to the precinct? We need to ask you a few more questions. You're so helpful. So
Good
Jerry
cop,
had the
bad
good
cop.
cop. Yeah. So Mike walks out of the room and Jerry's like, what's going on? And Craig says, so that lady? And Jerry's like, yeah. He's like, Craig says, I killed her.
Just
Just
cold,
like that.
just out of nowhere.
Oh my God. I 100%. I thought we were never going to know. Holy shit.
And Jerry's like, okay, tell me what happened.
Yeah, you want to expand on that?
Yeah.
Dude? Yeah. Like, what,
Yeah.
Say more about that. Yeah.
So Craig says that he was getting on the elevator. He was had been drinking.
Yeah.
So the drinking part was true at some point.
Sure.
I think he also ended up having a history of drug addiction. So God knows what he was on. Probably crack. Since
If I had that mustache, I would hate myself too.
Yeah.
He had to look in the mirror every day.
Every day.
So
And be like, I wish I was Tom Selleck. Who is?
So he got on the elevator. He thought that Helen was beautiful. And when she asked what floor Valerie was on, he gave her the wrong floor because he wanted to be alone with her. So the other ballet dancer, Laura, gets off the elevator. And when it's the two of them in the elevator, he makes a pass at her. Now, I can't find exactly what that means. But she slaps him. And it just sent him into a rage.
This is in the
Here we
category
go.
men are scared that they're going to be
Yep.
insulted and women are scared that we're going to be murdered.
Murdered.
This
Proof
is
right here.
case
This-
in point. Like,
Not
Exactly.
allowed to say anything that could potentially hurt someone's feelings.
she said my
taught to be
mustache was
polite.
stupid. I had to
Right.
kill her. Like, what the what?
All she said
So-
was no. She said
Yep.
no, thank you. No, I'm sure she was very kind. Honestly.
She's probably like, I'm married, motherfucker.
I'm married,
like, leave me
motherfucker.
alone. Yeah. Like,
I mean, but whatever he did was egregious enough for her to slap him.
Yeah.
So
Probably tried to
maybe
grab
he
her.
grabbed her. Maybe he
Yeah.
grabbed her,
He
tried to
might
kiss
have.
her.
Yeah.
If he was high and drunk.
warranted slap.
So he became enraged. He grabbed his hammer from his tool belt and used that to threaten her because he didn't have a weapon. So he used the hammer and grabbed her by the arm, pulled her off of the elevator, and is basically pulling her through this maze, and he himself gets lost. So he's with her. She knows she's in big trouble because he's this, probably high, definitely drunk, stagehand with a hammer. He's already tried to make a pass at her. She realizes she's in big trouble. She tries to fight him off, and at one point, she makes a run for the closest doorway, and it turns out that is the door that would have taken her to stage level. She was one doorway away
God damn
I hate that. I hate
to
that.
where there were 4,004 people
Yeah.
in the audience. So the audience, it was a sold-out show, 4,004 people. You've got 199 stagehands, orchestra dancers. If she had gotten through that door, she would have been back in public view somewhere in the stage. But she didn't. He grabbed her. That's when he grabbed her. He tied her up and cut her clothes off. He apparently tried to rape her, but couldn't. I think we all know what that means. And so...
Good. Motherfucker.
Yeah. So he dragged her up to the roof. And this is where he left her. So this is interesting. And this is his version. Okay.
Right.
So
Sure,
it's like,
we-
what Right.
We don't have another account. This
No.
is all we've really got at this point.
So he gets her up to the roof. She starts talking to him and quote, trying to be nice to him.
Trying to get out of it, like,
Right.
hey,
Life,
yeah, see me as a person,
Yep.
so you don't hurt me.
I think that's exactly what happened. And he became angry, and that's why he gagged her, because he didn't want to hear her talking anymore. So he gagged her, and this is what he alleges happened. He told her, I'm leaving. I'll call someone and let them know where you are. So he leaves her tied up, naked, face down on the roof, and he leaves. And he claims he heard her making noises. So instead of leaving, he turned around, went back up to the roof, and kicked her off into the air vent. Then threw her clothes and purse after her.
I hate this guy.
Yeah. Jesus.
I also, Olivia, maybe you're going to say more about this, like, not to jump ahead, but like, this feels like a lot for a first offense.
That is
Like,
a really
right?
good point.
Usually people do not escalate. Like, usually there's some sort of pattern, and it sounds like this at least started as an attempted sexual assault. Usually there's a pattern of
Right.
that before it then escalates to like more harm or like, something like murder, where you're trying to then, usually cover up the evidence of the assault or the attempted
Right.
assault. But for this is his first time out, and you go from like, she insulted me, she slapped me, I had to kill her. Like, that feels like a
Right.
lot. Like, not unheard of, clearly, but just
Right.
unusual. Like, that strikes me as unusual. Like, did he have a record or a history of like, oh yeah, like this guy had been, doing shit like this, or he'd been accosting women, if not
Right.
there, like elsewhere in his life? Like,
Apparently, no. So it's interesting because he was 21, so
or
he
at
was
least not
young.
reported.
He was 21.
Yeah, that's by the way. Yeah, that's him. That photo that you're looking at, he's
Is
21
it 21 with the mustache?
with the mustache.
With
Is
the creeper
21.
stash?
It's given Sean Eckhart. That's what I'm thinking of with the Tanya Harding. Just
Oh.
like,
Yes.
Yep.
So he confesses he does not have a record that I was able to uncover. Now, was there perhaps a juvenile record that was sealed?
Oh, yeah, because he's only 21.
Maybe.
or stuff that just didn't get reported, and not to say that,
Right.
That it's
Had
it's
he
no
assaulted
one's-
sex workers in the
right,
past?
exactly. Like,
Maybe.
was it
Or
something like
anyone who's afraid to report because nothing
Right.
ever gets done.
Well, and
Right.
even if he was like, let's say, this is like hypothetical, I'm speculating wildly now, but like, let's say, she was not known to him. Like, he had maybe like seen her there, but to her,
Right.
I'm sure he was a stranger.
Right.
Complete
So
stranger.
What if like you're in a bar, say in New York City in 1980, and like someone like that comes up to you, and he's a stranger, and he says something, and then he shoves you or like, hits you if you reject him. Even if like a woman like that then wanted to report him, it's like, well, give a description of him. Like, do you know him? Who was it? And even if you tried to report on something like that, like, you don't have a name, you don't have,
Right.
like, there's nothing to, even if you filed a complaint, there's really
Right.
nothing to go on. And we don't have the
Technology.
surveillance. Well, we
Yeah.
don't have like, even
Right.
security video like the way
Yeah.
we do
Now.
now. Like, it's just, I think
Right.
it's harder. So I could see in theory how maybe a pattern like that, it's like there could have been a pattern of behavior and it just wasn't documented, whether it was, juvenile or even if he's,
Yeah.
19, 20, 21. And it just
Right.
seems like a lot out of left field.
Well, because
It
feels
does.
It feels very heat of the moment, obviously.
Yeah.
But intimate, and those things tend to happen like
Yeah.
in a domestic or somebody that right? That it escalates that quickly.
even like stalking.
Stalking.
Jen,
Or
where it's, like, it's a
yes.
one-sided
Well,
fixation.
Right.
And I
like-
wonder if there's no evidence of this. I haven't read anything, but I think that brings up a really good point.
Yeah.
Is it possible, because they would have been rehearsing many,
Right, she
right,
would have
before
been
they
in the
would have
building.
gone on.
Yeah.
Did he have a fixation with her? Had he seen her and decided he wanted her, saw
Was
her
it
heading
a
to
Phantom
the
of the Opera
elevator?
situation?
Yeah.
But it's
where
also
followed her into the elevator, maybe.
But what a chance! Like, what a chance that of all the times and the things, it's like she would be alone in that
moment.
Like, I don't know.
And
unless he was just waiting for a moment like that.
That's I'm wondering that. So
Opportunity.
yeah. One question that Judith, his her kind of childhood friend, was able to answer was, why was she looking for Valery Panoff's dressing room? So this is actually a little bit more heartbreaking. Her husband was a sculptor and also had done scenic work, and she, rather than trying to like get a formal meeting, wanted to talk straight to Valery to see if there was an opportunity for her husband to do any scenic work with the ballet. So that's why she was trying to find him. It was a break for her, and he wasn't on stage at that moment, and she thought she could just go talk to him and introduce herself and use her warm personality to talk to him about bringing her husband onto the scenic design team. So that's why she was wandering looking for Valery. So this son of a bitch confesses, and he knew things that only the killer would know. He knew the knot. He explained exactly where her clothes and purse had landed. Like, there's no way.
It's definitely him.
It's definitely him. Ugh. He gets a criminal defense attorney. They plead not guilty, which I can't even believe. He didn't take a deal. They plead not guilty.
Why?
Okay, because the criminal defense attorney argued that Craig Crimmins was under the influence of drugs. He had an IQ of 83, and he was susceptible to coercion by authority figures. So he just confessed because he thought they wanted him to confess.
Okay, 83 is dumb, but the legal threshold for like incapacity is 60.
Aha.
But they're like, well, you're just
over the limit.
Right. Like saying something to like incriminate yourself and confessing to something you didn't do because you don't understand how anything works. Like,
right. This guy tried to argue that. It didn't work. He was convicted. June 4th, 1981, he was sentenced 20 years to life.
Please tell me he's still in there.
He came up for parole in 2001, because that would have been 20 years. He was denied parole. Every 2 years, he has come up for parole, and he was denied.
Good.
Until...
No!
He was released in 2021.
No!
Was it one of those like, hey, compassionate release, there's COVID and the prison is full, so we're going to like get you out of here so you don't die on our books, because you're probably old at this point.
He was his defense attorney had argued he's an old man, he's harmless at this point. It was one of those one bad decisions.
One bad decision as a murderer, I don't think you know.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, one bad decision to like bind a woman and like cut her clothes off and drag her to the roof and kick her down the air shaft. Haven't we all?
Buddy?
I mean,
there, but for the grace of God, we would all be,
Like manslaughter in a traffic accident is a bad decision. Like this is capital M, like murder in the if
capital
not first
M.
degree. Like this is
you don't get to make that mistake. Like
you knew exactly what you were doing. You were like, I was confused. I had no idea this would be the outcome. Like,
and the fact that he was gonna leave her and then came back and kicked her down, like that to me is the worst. Like, why didn't you just keep on walking? Here's a really bizarre irony. I don't know if you guys are ready for this.
I'm ready. I'm getting any liquids
girding my
so I don't
loins.
Flail.
Gird your loins. Yeah. Swallow your last sip of wine. While he was in prison, he learned to play the violin.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And he played in the prison facility orchestra.
Literally any other instrument. I'm sorry.
See?
Like no.
And that makes me
Who
feel
let
like
that happen.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like there might have been some sort of an obsession.
That feels icky.
Oh, you're right. That does fill into the
that he
obsession.
had to
The
do
woman
that.
I killed. I have
Yeah,
a connection to her. Like,
yeah.
I don't like that. No, play the oboe, motherfucker. Like anything else. Like
Anything else? Jesus, play the
Anything.
viola for God's sake. It's at
Right.
least a different name.
Yep. I had to like read that like 4 times. I was like, wait, he what? That was I
your brain.
discovered that in an article when I was doing the deep dive. That was not in the documentary.
also,
yeah.
like of all the people, not to say that prison as we know it in this country is a mess and terrible.
Yes, it is.
And in general does very little to rehabilitate or educate people. And at the same time, I feel it's like maybe for him in particular, it's like other things he could have done in prison besides getting to join the orchestra, A, and B, like to play this specific instrument. I'm like, why can't he paint in prison? Like, why can't he do literally anything else? Like, was this the only choice? Like, I don't like that. I feel like if you killed a person who liked the thing, you shouldn't be allowed to do.
You should not be allowed to do the thing.
On the
Somebody should be
taxpayer's
taking
dime.
notes about that and being
On the
like,
taxpayer's
no.
dime. Yeah. It's like, well, we bought you a violin, like the lady you murdered. Like, I'm not for that.
I wonder if that's why he was denied parole for so long. They were like,
Maybe.
Craig, this is creepy. This is creepy AF. You're not getting out.
Also, the whole like the compassionate release, like, oh, you're old, like you're infirm. I'm sorry, like more judges, like I think it was in California, but wherever Robert Durst finally got convicted. And they were like, he was like literally at death's door. He had some sort, like he had a stent in his brain to like drain fluid, and was like actively had like the death rattle like in the courtroom. And they're like, we're still gonna convict you of murder.
Denied. Yeah.
And they're like, he's so old and infirm. Is this really worth the court's time? They're like, yes,
Yes.
this is justice. Like,
There are so many people like convicted and in jail, in prison for like marijuana possession. Let them out.
Right.
They're not going to
Let
hurt
them out.
anybody. They just
if you're gonna
wanted
do,
to feel good.
if you're gonna
Not
do
Craig Crimmins and
compassionate-
his
yeah,
violin.
compassionate release. It's
I
like,
don't care how well behaved they are. You know?
No. And also, like, it's like they're old or they're sick. It's like
I don't care.
this. I'm sorry, like this is what you get. Like you deserve to die in
Right.
prison. Like
And
there are certain crimes where
Yeah.
I'm like, if you are a capital M, like murder in the first degree person, or if you're a sex offender, I'm also all for like.
Or if you've abused animals.
Yes,
all of
stay
those
in there.
things, you
I was
should
like,
just
I think you
go
just
away
stay
forever.
in there. It's like, if you did like, so like I did some white collar crimes. I'm like, fine, like let those people out. Like
Sorry,
rehabilitate those people.
Martha Stewart.
Martha
like, you know.
Stewart. Yeah.
She never
You
should have
can
been
go.
sentenced. That was like 5 months. I was like,
I know.
okay, like I don't know what you're trying to prove here, but sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
That women can't get ahead as in the finance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe
she-
women aren't allowed to do the insider trading.
Insider trading, but men
know.
can.
Olivia, she embarrassed some men, so therefore she had to pay.
You had to go down. That's it.
And
They were embarrassed.
So that photo of him, that was him in 2019. So that's what he probably looks like now. I can't find
everyone
anything.
knows.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to go out on a limb and say they're like, oh, he's so old and harmless.
he's not.
I'm going to say not that old and not that
Not that
harmless.
He was only
Harmless.
21, so he's actually only in his 60s because
Yeah.
in 80, so he's 21 years older than me. Okay,
Yeah,
so
sorry.
he's 60. How old am I? 66. He's not old.
He's not
No.
that old. Like he's younger than my mother.
Right, like he has a whole second chapter
mine
now.
too.
Like
that
yes.
he's-
he can totally like still mow his own lawn. Like he looks capable. I'm just saying. Like
Yeah.
it's not like
Right.
he's 90 and it's like, oh, he's like wheeling out in a wheelchair. Like this
Nope.
man could definitely like cause some trouble.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what do you do in prison other than work out and get stronger? Because we don't have a system that actually rehabilitates anyone. So he's just more dangerous now.
Right. And he spent the majority of his adult life with other incarcerated people.
Incarcerated murderers. Yeah.
Learning who knows
Playing the
what.
violin over his obsession. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Like this. I don't like it at all.
I don't like
Yeah.
it. Is he old because he has glasses now? Is that what it is? He got rid of the mustache and he has glasses.
His glasses.
You can't see as well. Bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know where he's at. I don't know. I looked. I couldn't find anything. I think because
I'm sure he's a parole officer. We
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
But
yeah, he should still be 2021. I would hope he's
Still in under parole.
still on
in.
parole. I don't know. Giannis died a few years ago. He has died, and Judith said that she doesn't think he ever really recovered from
I bet not.
from this.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. They don't mention that he got remarried. I kind of hope he did. Like maybe he found
Something,
a second
someone,
love, but I
some
don't.
sort
I
of
don't know.
Comfort at least.
That's a lot of trauma
Yeah.
Yeah.
to recover from, like loss of spouse under like accidental circumstances,
Right.
or even like, you know, a normal like, hey, you got sick and, you know, things happen, is really hard, I think, to move forward from. But something as grisly as that, and also so young, like at such a young age, like you're not
They'd only been
thinking-
married 4 years too,
yeah.
so they were just starting out.
and you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about, oh, hey, we're getting older, something might happen. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
we're 30, you know,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
just
And they
you
were
think you
both
have plenty-
artists.
feeling.
There's a
So he's very
sensitivity
emotional.
there. Yeah.
But yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Feels his feelings. Yeah.
So, yeah, but something that
Wow.
that was kind of nice that Judith said is that she said that there's always a hole in her heart that'll never heal, but she said she can still summon the memory of what Helen sounded like when she played the violin. So she remembers what that sounded like, and she can still recall that sound. So
That's
I love that.
yep. But at the end of the day, you know, they got him convicted within a year.
Pretty good.
And 25 detectives, they ended up interviewing 800 staff members from every person that had not just was in the building that night, but also had access to the building.
Pretty good.
So they did an incredible job.
NYPD came through.
They did. They did.
Wow. Well done, Olivia.
Wow,
that
Olivia,
was
that was insane.
deeply upsetting, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I am glad at the very least that there was justice done. And
There
that
was
this-
justice. He
this-
served 40 years. So, I mean,
Yeah.
This
at
wasn't
least there's-
unsolved, though. I guess is
No,
what I'm
he
saying.
served-
Yeah,
Like,
and I
He served
kind of
longer
thought
than
it
that,
was.
yeah.
And I had listened to a podcast about this years ago, but I don't remember any of it. So this was great. I truly was like, oh, it's unsolved. Like, I didn't remember that they caught somebody.
No, they caught him. They caught him like quick.
Good.
I have 3 other interesting. This is what I thought could become a Patreon.
Oh.
I'm ready.
This is not the only death in the Metropolitan Opera.
What? There's more?
There are
Place
3
is a
other
death
deaths.
trap.
I
that
know.
it
Don't
is a
work
death
at the Met, guys. Don't go.
Yeah.
Well, friends, this was
Yeah.
I don't want to say delightful, but like Olivia, you did not oversell it. This was a
You
wild
did-
ride. I wasn't
My
ready,
God.
but
I
well
wasn't
done.
either.
Oof.
Well
yeah.
done.
Yeah. It was crazy.
So next week I feel like our order too of who's hosting. I feel like we were a
Yes.
little bit more methodical last season, but based on our content, we've sort of
yeah.
shaken
things
it up,
around
which
a
is-
little bit.
which is also great. What are we doing next week? What are we even doing? I know it's not me.
It's me. Hello. Hi. It's me.
It's Jen. She's back again.
I'm back again. I know you've missed me, so I didn't want to stay away too long. And I'm going to be covering the mysterious death of George Reeves, otherwise known as Superman.
Superman.
Which this has been asked for. This has been requested. People.
It has?
Oh yeah, yeah. Someone. I think Brian Groth. Shout out to
Yeah.
listener and fan
Oh,
Brian.
Brian!
Groth. Commented on our Instagram.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you going to be talking about this at some point? Because I really think you should." It was like, maybe.
we could take requests. So he's not one of the ones that said that we go on too long. I'm taking it.
No. But yeah, that, and I think I will also tie in a little bit of the so-called Superman curse
Yeah.
that kind of follows
Absolutely.
the people around that play Superman.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Interesting. Oh, well, I'm excited, Jen. Yeah.
Me
and then
too.
all right, floozies.
See you next
I'll
time.
see you next time.
And scene.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Wicked Stage Pod.
Follow us on Instagram and check out our Patreon for more exclusive content.
These deliciously wicked episodes drop every other Friday, so make sure you subscribe or follow and don't get left waiting in